Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Spatlem Kize and this is my channel. If you are a regular degular, a regular liker, a regular sharer, honey, thank you for coming back once again. And if you're new here today, welcome to the channel. Make sure that you click the subscribe button so you can join the regular Degulars. Okay, my loves, as you guys can see by the title of this video, this is another informative video. So all the teachers gather in the comment section, all the educators, or even someone who's looking to change careers and move into the education space. This video is for you. All right, labs. So before I get into that, I just want to shout out our sponsors of this video, Moreland University. Moreland University is a university based in the States. They offer online courses for teachers or career changers to study further in order to become certified teachers. They have a Teach Now preparation certificate that you can complete in 9 months, as well as the master's program that you can complete in 12 months. They have payment plans and they are very interactive in terms of their classes. You meet teachers from around the world and the units are super informative and very 21st century. So if you're interested in reading more about Moreland and enrolling with Moreland University, I highly recommend that you click the link in my bio. Okay, labs, let's get into this video. I'm sure you guys can hear some of the kids in the background. I'm shooting this video at work during my free period, so it's very much on brand. So one of the things that I learned at Moreland was PBL. If you don't know what PBL is project-based learning. It's a type of approach that is very student-centered and kind of relieves the teacher of having the voice in the classroom, and it allows the students to work together, to collaborate, to do a project or whatever the case may be. Another type of teaching approach that I learned whilst at this school that I'm working at, which is an international school, was inquiry-based learning, okay? So inquiry-based learning was something that I felt many of us compare to PBL, whereas I feel like both are quite similar, but they do have features that are very different. And so the reason why I wanted to do this video was to encourage and kind of show teachers and educators that, we don't have to have, the most involvement in the classroom. We kind of need to find ways as teachers to involve or put the student at the center, provide strategies for ourselves to help us kind of see and assess whether students can apply what they're learning in real life. So I wanted to do this video to compare these two approaches to kind of figure out and kind of help you to see which ones you can apply in your classroom. These obviously can be applied across all age groups. They just have to be differentiated according to the skill. I teach grade 4, so I definitely can use them, and my kids have that English efficiency or have that English ability to be able to do PBL and inquiry-based learning. So let's get into the major differences, and then we're going to talk about how you can incorporate that in your classroom, all right? So before I get into that, I want to just underline that these approaches are very much student-centered. Like I said, the voice of the student here gets amplified, and your voice as the teacher does go down a bit, and you're kind of doing the role of facilitating, observing, and, mediating the conversation and debates between the students. These approaches also encourage active learning. So instead of the students either listening to you or writing notes, they're actually able to do whatever it is they are doing. It may be an experiment, a project, etc., etc. Both IBL and PBL encourage collaboration, critical thinking, problem solving. So they incorporate or they encourage students to use 21st century skills. And lastly, both these approaches encourage students to connect what they are learning to real life situations. And so that really takes the classroom outside into the real world, allowing the students to apply and see what they are learning in real life. All right, so let's quickly define what they are once again so that we're all on the same page. So IBL, which is inquiry-based learning, is the process where students formulate questions, investigate to find answers, build new understandings, and share their learning. It focuses on curiosity and exploration. So when we are defining PBL or project-based learning involves students designing, planning, and carrying out a project that results in public product or presentation. It is more structured and product orientated than IBL. All right, so the main goal of PBL is to solve real world problems. So students here are encouraged to think about the real world and assess the world around them and figure out ways to solve problems around them. It can be something as simple as trash in the school, or litter problems in the school, or bullying in the school, or tidiness in the school. It doesn't have to be outside the school gates. It can be something around them. The main goal of inquiry-based learning is to really start questioning the world around us, to deepen our understanding, to ask critical questions that will kind of question why things are the way they are. So as you can see, the main goals do differ. One focuses on questioning, and the other focuses on assessing and building and producing something to solve a problem. So an example of a driving question for PBL could be, how can we design a school garden to grow local sustainability or local food sustainability? Now, a question that could be more inquiry-based would be a teacher or a student asking, why do plants need sunlight? As you can see, the one that is focused on IBL, or inquiry-based learning, will allow students to start having a deeper understanding about the process of plants growing and sunlight, and a deeper understanding of how plants grow. Whereas the students in PBL would be encouraged or inspired to design and make something that could build or grow food sustainably, or, for example, start a garden in the school, or start to create awareness, put posters around the school. It could be anything that they could do to build that awareness and further solve a problem such as growing crops around their school. Now, I've experienced both PBL and IBL in terms of my teaching strategies in the classroom, and I found that the structure of each of them is quite different. For PBL, I would say a lot of it has to do with a plan. It has to stick on kind of an outline where we start with the launch in terms of where we're asking the question, then we're doing a plan, then we're creating, then we're presenting. So it has to follow a structure. And I think throughout the process as the teacher, you are observing how children are working collaboratively, and you are also assessing how they are able to critically think, how they are working together, how they are, using their different 21st century skills. And you kind of take the back seat and you're not hands-on, but you're just facilitating and guiding the students. It is similar to what you can be doing in IBL, but in IBL, I feel like you really let the kids start to create their own questions instead of us kind of telling them how to think. We start to kind of give them the key words or the key topic, and we start to ask them to use their previous knowledge to ask questions, to ask them, what are you curious about when it comes to this topic? What is something that excites you? What is something that you don't know about? And so you can see that instead of having an outline in terms of a curriculum that is set in stone, you kind of start to let the kids dictate how the curriculum will kind of flow. And, it kind of feels like you're working backwards because you're trying to get to the end result, or rather you start at the end result. So this is what you're wanting to learn. How are we going to get there? Instead of saying, this is everything you're learning, now let's test for it at the end. You know what I mean? So I love that both of them are very non-traditional in the approach of teaching. And for someone who's been in South Africa or grew up in South Africa and had a very different type of education system, or was exposed to a different type of education system, where I felt like kids like myself, while I was studying, we were being trained to be able to pass tests. These approaches really apply, really encourage students to use other skills outside of cramming and writing and getting scores. It really encourages them to use other skills like thinking, problem solving, working together, collaboration, questioning, instead of, being able to study information and then regurgitate it into an exam or whatever the case may be, So once again, guys, I just want to emphasize that in IBL, really, there's a lot of questioning. And this is what I feel like, this is where education is moving in the direction. And I really am excited about it because sometimes, or I felt growing up that we would hear whatever we hear and whatever we'd be taught in the classroom, and that's what it was. Like, we couldn't question it, we couldn't ask why. And I feel like 21st century education, or education today, modern education education today is really encouraging students to question why things are the way they are, so that one, they can have a deeper understanding of it, and also they can be critical thinkers and start to think about different ways to do things. And, for PBL, I think it's amazing that the classroom is no longer the rigid four walls around us. The classroom can be outside of the school. And, children are using what they are learning in the school to solve problems in their communities. And that kind of connects them to their community. And it's not that situation where the kids are spending a lot of time at school and they're not connected with the issues and problems that are faced by the community and the people around them. So I think both these are super important. I feel like we could apply them more in our teaching styles and in our teaching approaches, because one thing I believe, and a philosophy that I like to use, is that my voice as a teacher in the classroom shouldn't be louder than the students. They still should be able to voice their opinions, ask questions, and they should still have an opportunity to speak amongst themselves while I take the back seat and listen in on that. So that is something that I thought, this could be a great way for us as teachers to learn different approaches and to apply them in what we are doing in the classroom. So lastly, to sum it up, I just want to conclude what are the major takeaways when it comes to IBL versus PBL. So if you are sitting and you've gotten to this point of the video, this is what I want you to remember about these two approaches, these two student-centered approaches, and how you can start to think about using them in your classroom. So IBL, students dive deep into a question or a topic. You encourage your students to be curious, to critically think, to ask why things are the way they are. And this is a very flexible approach focused on how students learn, and you as the teacher take the back seat and you kind of facilitate and guide students through questioning and evaluation. The PBL approach is more where students apply their knowledge to a real world problem, and they are fostering here skills such as collaboration, creativity, communication, and in this you are also taking a bit of a back seat and you're watching them work in teams. You are actually assessing their ability to work in teams, to collaborate, to create, to communicate amongst each other, as well as, having a very structured focus for what students need to create. So there has to be a plan here. There has to be a strategy where kids know that, okay, the first step is the launch, then the plan, then we create, then we present, and then at the end we reflect. Did we solve the problem? What could we have done better? And so this is a great way for you to kind of encourage students to open their eyes, look around you. Why are things the way they are? But also, is there a problem around us? What can we do to solve that problem? And so, for me, that really excites me to see how education is moving in this space. Moreland encourages, us in the Teach Now course to do that in our lessons. I remember one of the lessons, we literally had a lecture about PBL. Then the next day, we were encouraged to see how we can implement a PBL project in the current unit we are doing. And so for me, at the time, I was working at a kindergarten. And I remember I was like, oh my goodness, what could I do with kindergartners? And what PBL could they do? They can't even work together. They fight over crayons, etc., etc. And we did a simple thing. We walked around the school and we walked in a line and we looked around the school and we're like, everybody open your eyes, look around the school. What do you see that is out of place? Or what do you see that is broken? And the kids were able to identify, oh no, there's some litter on the ground. Oh no, the playground game, I think it was like what is it called? Oh, I just forgot. But one of the toys there was broken. And another thing was, one of the cupboards were broken, because this is stuff that either they have broken or because of wear and tear, it has broken over time. And, once we got back to the classroom, we were like, okay, guys, what could we do to keep our school clean? And so the kids started to talk about, oh, we don't put the trash on the floor, but we throw it in the trash can. And then we were like, okay, are there enough trash cans in the school? And so we took another walk and we saw, oh, there's only one trash can. So what do we need to do? We need to make more trash cans. And so obviously the kids couldn't make trash cans, but we were going to decorate the trash cans that were going to be around the school. So we made little covers that they could decorate, and then we kind of laminated them and we started sticking them on there. And then it was just like them seeing that, oh, we made this, we're solving this problem of litter. It's a simple way to do it. There are plenty other ways that you could do this. You could figure out a way to take your kids on the walk in the community where they live, or whatever the case may be, if your school is nearby to the community. But guys, once again, there's different ways, different age groups that you could use to do this. The other day I was reading about a colleague of mine who identified, or rather the students identified a problem in their community. This is in Nigeria, and he was sharing that the situation in Nigeria is that a lot of young girls are forced to drop out of school. They are forced to leave school because of, arranged marriages or early pregnancy, or whatever the case may be. And so the school children, the high school kids, decided to start a math project in the community. And it wasn't just like, we're gonna go teach math to the girls that have dropped out, but rather we're gonna teach them math that could help them to start their own businesses. So budgeting, how to budget, how to make a spreadsheet, how to take your income and minus your expenses, how to save, etc., etc. What are the different strategies? And so this was a way that they identified a problem in their community, and they used the skills that they had to empower the community around them. So this could be another PBL project you could do in your community, identifying a problem that is in the community, to see how the kids can help that community and help the people around them. And that really deepens that connection between them and the society and community, as well as their connection to the environment around them. So yeah, guys, that is what I wanted to share today. This video, I think, was more for me to share what I've experienced and kind of encouraging you guys to think of different ways that you can, different student-centered approaches that you can apply in your classroom. Let me know in the comment section, what PBL projects are you doing? Are you incorporating IBL in your classroom? It's something that I feel like I'm also every day trying to encourage in my teaching style. And I've seen, in my school, it really does depend on the school and their openness to try different approaches. But I think you can be the change that you want to see in the world. You can be the change that you want to see in your school. If you feel like, yo, this PBL sounds really cool, I feel like we should do something like this in grade 9 or in grade 5 or in grade 2 with our kids, absolutely go ahead and present it to your school, because this is another way that students can deepen their learning, deepen their understanding, and succeed in their learning progress. Okay, thank you so much for watching, my loves. Give this video a big thumbs up if you haven't already. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.